Hi there, this is Dr. John Whitcomb talking about Biotoxins Part 8, Absent Androgens. How many men do you know who say they have low testosterone? Or how many ads do you see advertising low testosterone? Can you imagine at least half of them having that absence from biotoxin illness? So when you hear this in the future, perk up your ears and think about this thought. How could that happen? Well, first of all, let's just briefly review how biotoxins affect you. You breathe them in. You know those little tiny particles you see floating in the air on the midwinter sun slanting across your living room. Those are big particles. Imagine something 1,000 times smaller that you'd never even see then. But what end up being dust bunnies under your bed. Those tiny particles are fragments of DNA and protein of mold and many other pieces of bacteria, mycobacteria, that float through your house and into your lungs. And in your body, they set off all sorts of receptors that put out what we call cytokines. Those cytokines go into your brain and damage your hypothalamus, your leptin receptor. And that dramatically then lowers melanocyte-stimulating hormone. Never heard of that? Well, I hadn't either until I started studying this. Melanocyte-stimulating hormone was discovered as the hormone that makes you tan. Pretty trivial thought, but in fact is foundational to many critical processes. So biotoxins lowering melanocyte-stimulating hormone end up with lower androgens. One of the things that MSH supports is androgens, and you end up with low testosterone. Now, the normal balance that goes on in your body requires all of your hormones to sing together in a symphony. And what the biotoxins tend to do at the cellular level are damage membranes and damage the ability to signal across membranes and the ability to generate energy. But the net effect is that you have lowered androgens. And part of that may be because it appears that the balance shifts towards more estrogen because of an upregulation of aromatase. Now, aromatase is the last enzyme in the step that takes testosterone and turns it into estrogen. So women have the same amount of testosterone as men, but they have an activated aromatase, and so they make most of their testosterone into estrogen. Men typically don't make estrogen, at least too much. Well, with mold toxins, you do. Well, how do you fix that? Well, it turns out we don't really know this whole story, but you probably can fix it better by taking DHEA than by taking testosterone. Because when you just take testosterone, you're going to suppress it. What's going to work for me? I personally have started measuring MSH in my low testosterone men, and I'm finding a lot of it. This means that biotoxin illness is a part of low testosterone in many men. Stay tuned, we'll tell you more next week. This is Dr. Whitcomb finishing up on Biotoxin 8.